Noah had seen it years ago when Tate had nearly choked Mark for daring to get too close to Noah. Tate had never been good at sharing, not when it came to Noah. In Tate's mind, Noah wasn't something he could simply divide between himself and someone else. Noah knew better than to underestimate him. If Tate genuinely believed Riley was a threat, Noah wasn't sure Tate would stop at angry words. Tate had always been capable of becoming frighteningly physical when he felt someone was taking something or someone away from him. And that was what worried Noah most. Because Tate didn't understand the meaning of the word share. Not when it came to Noah. Tate blinked once. Then twice. Engaged, he repeated slowly like he was testing the word for weaknesses, for fractures. Yes, Riley replied evenly. Tate let out a humorless breath through his nose. That's funny. It's not meant to be, Riley answered calmly. The note burned like fire inside Tate's jacket pocket. His fingers twitched against the folded paper instinctively. Cruel. Clean. Final. Tate took another slow step into the room. Where is he? Talia frowned immediately. Tate. Where is Noah? Tate demanded again, sharper this time. Riley didn't react defensively, didn't rise to the aggression. He simply held Tate's gaze with maddening calmness. He's not here, Riley said. Tate's chest rose hard once. Of course he's not. But even as he said it, Tate's pulse continued accelerating uncontrollably. The second he stepped inside his mother's house, he felt it. Noah was close. Somewhere nearby. Tate didn't know how he knew, maybe instinct, maybe obsession, maybe years of memorizing Noah so completely that his body reacted before logic ever could. But Riley was lying. Talia was lying to shield Noah. Tate's eyes drifted slowly around the room now, searching instinctively. The pushback chair. The extra coffee cup is still steaming. The untouched plate. The strange tension is tightening every expression in the room. His gaze lingered briefly on the hallway entrance. Then the patio doors. Then the staircase is visible through the archway beyond the kitchen. Where are you? The thought pulsed through him almost violently. Tate could practically feel Noah somewhere nearby, just beyond reach. Hiding. Avoiding him. And for some reason, that realization only intensified the desperate ache building inside Tate's chest. The stranger watched him carefully now, not hostile exactly. Assessing. Studying. Tate shoved a restless hand through his hair before speaking again, frustration roughening his voice. He left me a note, Tate said flatly. Now I get to throttle him for his rudeness. Talia looked horrified instantly. Tate. But Tate ignored her. His jaw flexed tightly, while emotion flickered dangerously beneath the surface. Tate swallowed hard once, pride forcing his chin higher despite the exhaustion visible beneath his eyes. Noah's hiding because he's a pacifist, Riley explained. You don't know what happened, he muttered. You're right, Riley said quietly, I don't. And somehow that calm response irritated Tate even more. Because Riley looked secure. Grounded. Like someone who genuinely believed Noah belonged to him now. Meanwhile, Tate stood there unraveling in his mother's dining room over a man who wouldn't even stay long enough to face him. The honesty startled Tate enough that he went briefly still. But I know, Riley continued carefully, voice calm and maddeningly steady, that he looked like someone who'd been cut open without warning. Tate's hands curled tighter into fists at his sides. Something painful flickered across his face before anger swallowed it again. You don't get to sit here, Tate said, voice low and visibly shaking now, in my house, drinking her coffee and talk about him like you understand. Riley didn't look away. Didn't flinch. I'm not trying to take anything from you, he said quietly. I'm trying to build something with him. Tate laughed bitterly under his breath. Build, he repeated, you think this is some construction project. His eyes darted around the room again instinctively, searching corners, hallways, shadows, like Noah might suddenly appear if Tate looked hard enough. You think you can just show up halfway through someone's life and build over decades of history? Tate asked. Under the table, Noah's trembling hands pressed harder against the floor. His mother stepped in. Tate, that's enough. But Tate wasn't looking at his mom anymore. He was looking at the man who had apparently replaced him at his mom's table and in Noah's life. You think you know him? Tate asked. I know the version of him that stands in the kitchen at 2 in the morning worrying about everyone but himself, Riley replied softly. I know the version who doesn't like being rushed, who needs time, who pretends he's fine when he's not. Tate faltered just barely. You don't get to narrate him, Tate said. I'm not, Riley answered. I'm standing beside him. The words weren't sharp, they were steady. And that steadiness infuriated Tate more than anger would have. Riley shook his head. Noah told me about that insensitive, cruel note you left him when you moved out of the Rambler and married Chloe. How could you do that to somebody you'd known for 22 years? The question hung between them. Riley wasn't asking because he didn't understand the circumstances. He was asking because, after 22 years of knowing Noah, Tate should have known exactly how deeply those words would hurt him. The note felt heavier now in Tate's pocket. You don't even know why I wrote it, Tate said. No, Riley agreed, but I know you wanted him to feel it. That struck clean. Tate's breath caught. His mother looked confused. What note? Nothing, Tate muttered. Riley didn't press, he simply sat back down slowly, giving Tate the space to either explode or leave. Where is he? Tate asked again, but quieter now. He needed air, Riley said. He'll be back. Tate's throat tightened. He hadn't come here to see this, to see a composed, unshaken man sitting in his place. He had come to find Noah. To demand answers, to undo what he'd written in anger and fear. Instead, he'd walked into proof that things had moved on without him. You look desperate, Riley said gently. Tate's head snapped up. I'm not, he shot back. Riley held his gaze. I think you are. The room felt smaller. Tate hated that the stranger wasn't mocking him, hated that he wasn't smug. It would have been easier to fight arrogance. But calm confidence, that was harder. I need to talk to him, Tate said finally. You can, Riley replied, if you're ready to talk, not wound. Tate stared at him, chest rising and falling. You don't get to decide that. No, Riley said, he does. That was the difference. Tate felt it. For the first time that morning, doubt flickered, not about Noah but about himself. The cruel note, the silence, the assumption that Noah would come running. Instead, there was a stranger at the breakfast table. And the stranger wasn't leaving. Noah was hiding and Tate wouldn't leave so he could escape. He wasn't trembling. He wasn't second-guessing himself. And he definitely wasn't remorseful. For once he was simply done. He's mine. He had heard the edge in Tate's tone the second he walked in, the territorial sharpness, the barely concealed jealousy, the restless energy that had always felt more like possession than love. Jealous, hormonal, reckless. Noah closed his eyes briefly. He remembered that version of Tate too well, the one who reacted first and reflected later, the one who let insecurity masquerade as passion, the one who could turn affection into accusation in seconds. Years ago, Noah would not have rushed out. He would have stepped between the tension, tried to soothe it, tried to absorb it. He would have apologized for things he hadn't done just to lower the temperature. Not anymore. From under the table he heard Riley's voice, steady, measured, unshaken. That steadiness grounded him. Tate's footsteps moved slightly, packing, agitated. I need to talk to him, Tate insisted. Noah exhaled slowly. Of course he did. Tate always needed something when he felt like he was losing control. But Noah wasn't hiding because he was afraid. He was choosing not to step into the storm. There was a difference now. He pushed off the wall and walked quietly toward the back door instead, slipping out onto the porch. The morning air was cool against his skin, crisp, clear. Inside, tension buzzed. Out here there was space. He leaned against the railing and looked out over the yard he'd grown up playing in. For a moment, he let memory wash over him, not romanticized, not distorted, just factual. Tate had been his childhood gravity, intense, magnetic, complicated. But gravity could also crush. Noah felt no guilt for protecting his peace. Tate read the note. He'd felt the sting. He'd recognized the manipulation woven between the lines, anger disguised as hurt, cruelty disguised as honesty. Noah hadn't written that note to heal. He'd written it to provoke. And Tate refused to reward that. The back door creaked softly. Riley stepped out, closing it gently behind him. Tate was not in a generous mood. His pants were too tight because that blonde tease had left him alone in bed with a very noticeable bulge. His body was rebelling against itself. All he had to do was think about Noah and his pants would get very tight. Right now his cheeks were pink and his neck was flushed due to what he hid in his pants. The back door opened again, this time abruptly. Riley sat down next to Tate and apologized for taking a business call during brunch. Tate sat down, his gaze lingered on the empty seat and half-eaten plate. Slowly, deliberately, he walked over and pulled the chair out farther before sitting down in it. The scrape of wood against hardwood echoed too loudly in the quiet room. Tate leaned back slightly, resting an arm on the table. "This abandoned table setting," he said smoothly, glancing between Riley and Mrs. Blue, "is it mine, or are we expecting a guest?" Tate noticed the fork and knife were sideways on the tablecloth and the OJ glass was tipped over, staining the tablecloth. "Noah was eating there until he had to leave," Talia said, drinking her OJ. Tate adjusted his pants and accidentally nudged Noah's knee. Under the table, Noah's pulse spiked so violently he felt dizzy. Tate was sitting inches above him, close enough that Noah could see the edge of his shoe, close enough to recognize the faint scent of his cologne. Talia forced a polite smile. "We were just finishing brunch." Tate's expression didn't change, but something knowing flickered in his eyes. He reached for the coffee cup that had been in front of Noah and lifted it, examining it briefly. "It's still warm," he murmured. The words landed heavily. Under the table, Noah pressed his palm against his chest, as if he could physically quiet the pounding of his heart. Tate leaned forward slightly, gaze lowering toward the tablecloth. He felt his pulse rise and he could feel the thump, thump, thump of his heart. His pulse only rose lately when the smart-mouthed cunt was nearby. The faintest smirk touched his mouth. "Interesting," he said softly. And suddenly, it didn't feel like a coincidence anymore. "I spoke to Noah earlier about his wedding plans," Talia began carefully, her voice composed but deliberate. "I'll be paying for everything." Tate's spoon stopped halfway to his mouth. The clink of metal against porcelain never came. Silence thickened. "He's not getting married," Tate said evenly, though something dangerous flickered behind his eyes. It wasn't a question, it was a correction. Talia sighed, hoping her son could behave long enough for Noah to leave the room without Tate making the situation he caused worse after he arrived. "He certainly is," Talia replied, "next year in June." The words landed with surgical precision. Tate's jaw tightened, the muscle twitched once, twice. Under the table, Noah pressed his hand harder against his chest, panic and humiliation tangling together. This was spiraling beyond control. "Have you seen Noah?" Tate asked, setting the spoon down carefully now, too carefully. "Why?" Talia Blue inquired, his tone calm but watchful. Tate exhaled slowly through his nose. "I've been trying to apologize." The word sounded foreign coming from him. "And he's hiding from me." The accusation hung in the air. Talia's eyes flicked downward for a fraction of a second before returning to Tate's face. Why would he be hiding? Tate leaned back slightly, gaze sweeping the room again, lingering just a moment too long on the tablecloth. "Because he's dramatic," Tate replied smoothly. "And stubborn. The longer the cunt hides, the worse his punishment will be when I get my fingers on his throat." Underneath him, Noah felt heat rise to his face. Talia folded her hands together. "Or perhaps," she said evenly, "he doesn't want to be found." That landed. Tate's expression shifted just barely, the controlled mask thinning at the edges. "I just want to talk," he said, though the tightness in his voice betrayed the pressure building beneath it. "That's all." The room felt charged, electric. Under the table, Noah realized something humiliating and unavoidable. Tate knew Noah was nearby. He didn't have proof yet, but he knew. Noah could see visible proof that Tate's pulse was racing, and it only did that when he was around Noah. And the longer Noah stayed hidden, the more ridiculous this would become. Noah had a clear view of Tate's crotch, and his former buddy's erection was very noticeable in his pants. The air felt thin. The silence stretched. And Tate's gaze dropped slowly toward the tablecloth again. "He deliberately tried to hurt me," Tate said, his voice cool but edged. "Immature revenge or something, and I refused to take it lying down. Second thought, Tate smirked lewdly. Maybe I will take it lying down. A slow smirk curved his mouth at his own phrasing, arrogant, provocative, deliberate. Under the table, Noah's stomach twisted. Even hidden, he could hear the smirk. If Tate had his way, he absolutely would have taken it lying down for many rounds of sex and hours of passion if it meant having Noah again. The thought flickered across his mind, dark and possessive, before he masked it. You probably deserved it, Talia said calmly. Tate's eyes snapped to her. You're always hurting him, she continued, not unkindly but firmly. Maybe this time he decided not to wait around for you to figure yourself out. The words struck harder than they appeared to. Tate's smirk faltered just slightly. I don't always hurt him, he said, quieter now. Son, from where I'm sitting, that seems to be the pattern. Silence thickened. Under the table, Noah's breath came slow and controlled now, less panic, more humiliation. Hearing them say it out loud, the truth made something ache in his chest. Tate leaned back in the chair, Noah's chair, and dragged a hand across his jaw. He invited me to the wedding, Tate said finally. That's not someone done with me. It's called maturity, Talia replied, extending grace. Tate's eyes darkened. It's not grace. Tate's right hand disappeared under the table, touching his crotch, rearranging his boner that pressed uncomfortably against his thigh. Then what is it? She asked. Tate didn't answer immediately. Her gaze drifted downward again, lingering on the tablecloth. He knew, of course he knew. It's a game, Tate murmured, and he knows I don't lose. Under the table, Noah's fingers curled into fists. For the first time, the panic shifted into something else. Resolve. And the question wasn't whether Tate would lift the tablecloth. It was whether Noah would come out before he did. How did he humiliate you, Tate? Talia asked, lifting her coffee slowly, eyes steady. Tate let out a short, humorless breath. He slipped out of his home while I was sleeping, he said flatly, and left a note. I don't understand, Talia said, confused. Yes, Tate admitted, jaw tightening. After that, he's still marrying Riley and he treated me like I didn't exist. Talia froze mid-sip, coffee halfway to her lips. Tate smirked, but it was brittle. Yes, and he still expects to walk into a marriage as if nothing had happened. Under the table, Noah's chest tightened, his heart hammered. The humiliation of hiding, hearing them discuss this, the weight of every word, it was unbearable. Talia put down her coffee, eyes wide with concern. You've had decades of companionship, history, whatever. But this, Tate, be nice to Noah. It doesn't matter how long, Talia said firmly. You're both adults. Noah is engaged. You're too old to behave this recklessly. You need to accept he's moving on and becoming an adult man. You need to worry about becoming friends again while maintaining your marriage, Tate. Noah is gaining maturity and embracing a new life. Noah was hiding beneath the table, barely daring to breathe. He could hear Tate pull out a chair and sit down, directly in Noah's usual seat. For a moment there was silence. Then Noah heard Tate sniff the air. Once. Twice. As though he were actually trying to catch the faintest trace of Noah's cologne, searching for some familiar indication that Noah was nearby. Noah froze. Tate sniffed again. Then suddenly he stopped. The silence that followed was somehow worse. Tate had smelled something. Something that had convinced him Noah was close. Under the table, Noah squeezed his eyes shut. Oh God. Tate knew. Tate smugly smiled. Tate shrugged, the smirk returning, colder this time. Reckless, immature, maybe, but I'm not the grown, adult, mature man hiding under a tablecloth right now. Silence. Noah's jaw clenched beneath the tablecloth. He felt his face flush with a mix of shame, panic, and helplessness. Every nerve screamed at him to stay hidden, but every instinct told him he couldn't avoid this conversation forever. Talia shook her head slowly as if trying to process a storm of disbelief and outrage. I can't believe this, I really can't. Talia's eyes remained locked on Tate, sharp and steady. You've always hurt him, she said, and now look at what you've done. He's hiding from you because you refuse to behave. Tate's smirk faltered for just a moment, a flicker of something raw and unguarded passing over his face. Under the table, Noah pressed his palms to the floor, heart hammering. He realized with sudden clarity, hiding wouldn't save him. Tate knew, and everyone else had just seen the aftermath of years of chaos laid bare. The longer Noah stays hidden, Tate said, voice low and sharp, the worse it's going to be for him. He let the words hang in the air like a warning. Noah panicked, crawling toward the far side of the table away from Tate. Noah's stomach twisted. He was crawling backward under the table, trying to make himself smaller, more invisible, desperate to avoid detection. Noah tried to climb out from the table to run upstairs, but his foot scraped against the hardwood floor. A faint, squeaky sound. Tate's head snapped toward it. A slow, deliberate smirk spread across his face. The tease needed to learn a lesson about manners and karma, which Tate would happily provide to the lad after he orgasmed on top of Noah a dozen times first. He walked toward the other side of the table, each step measured, confident, predatory in the way only Tate could carry himself. Noah froze, his pulse raced, every nerve screamed. He had nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. And yet, the same part of him that had spent decades wanting Tate now felt trapped, exposed, helpless. Tate paused, looking down, glancing back over his shoulder. His eyes flicked to the tablecloth, to the lack of shadow beneath it, and he tilted his head with a mixture of amusement and something darker, sharper. Noah was a tease and a coward, but somehow it aroused Tate, making his walk from Noah's chair to where his lover was obviously hiding, caused a painful boner in Tate's pants, making him uncomfortable while his erection chafed his thigh. Noah's hands pressed against the floor. He could feel the weight of Tate's awareness pressing down, his presence commanding the space even without touching him. Every instinct screamed to move, to disappear, but the tension was suffocating. "I know you're there," Tate said, voice low but sharp. "You're under the table." Noah squeaked, shuffling backward, pressing himself further under the dining room table as Riley paused mid-bite, a small, slightly amused smirk on his face. "Why did you do that?" Riley asked, setting his fork down slowly. "Why make Noah uncomfortable enough to hide?" Tate didn't even glance at Riley. His focus was entirely on the faint movement beneath the table. He stood, slow and deliberate, and walked to the edge of the tablecloth. Then he stooped, eyes narrowing as he spotted Noah crawling backward, hesitant and wary. "There you are," Tate said, amusement threading his tone. A smirk curved his lips. "Come out, we're going to have a talk about how you treat people in the morning." "No," Noah said, his voice barely audible, shaking. "Leave me alone." Tate smirked, enjoying that Noah was uncomfortable. It served the lad right after he humiliated him by leaving in the middle of the night. "I don't think so," Tate replied smoothly. "I think I have a right to know why." "No, do not say it," Noah interrupted sharply, curling tighter under the table. "This is my family." Riley leaned forward slightly from the porch doorway, voice calm but firm. "Noah's right, Tate, you're crossing a line, back off." Tate froze for a fraction of a second, smirk fading ever so slightly, but the intensity in his eyes didn't waver. "Shut the fuck up," he shouted at Riley. "Lines are a funny thing, aren't they?" he muttered, looking back at Noah. "You know you can hide, but you can't run from accountability forever." Noah swallowed, heart pounding. Every instinct screamed to bolt or fight, but he stayed low, trying to steady his breathing. Riley remained where he was, protective without overstepping, the calm anchor Noah desperately needed. "I said leave me alone," Noah repeated, voice firmer this time, arms crossed over his chest. Tate's lips twitched like he wanted to argue, but something in Noah's unwavering tone stopped him. God, Noah was hot. The smirk returned, smaller, sharper, like he was savoring the challenge, but he straightened slowly, hands still hovering at the edge of the table. "No," Tate said finally, voice quieter now though still edged with amusement. "We'll talk now." Noah exhaled in relief, curling just a little tighter under the table, while Riley's eyes followed every movement, unreadable but clearly evaluating the situation. The tension didn't vanish, but the immediate threat did, leaving only the heavy weight of what had just occurred and what was sure to come. Noah's chest pounded as adrenaline surged through him. He couldn't take the risk of staying in the dining room where Tate would admit to everyone, including Riley, about their fucking. With surprising agility, he darted up the stairs, Tate's footsteps thundering after him. "Excuse me," Tate called, voice sharp, mocking while touching his boner under the table. "I have a physical problem I need to deal with. I'll be back." Noah didn't pause. He skidded around the corner, scanning the hallway for the first room with a lock. The spare bedroom, once his room after his 18th birthday, was the only option. Running with a stiffy made Tate wince at each stair he climbed. That tease wouldn't escape his fingers nor hide from what he did to him. Noah's ass and thighs were on full display, making Tate harder than before now. Noah was so hot and attractive when the blonde was angry or stubborn. Noah slammed the spare door and twisted the lock, fingers shaking. Relief flared for a brief second until Tate's foot shot into the door, forcing it backwards off its hinges. Noah crashed onto his back, the door swinging with a sickening thud. "There you are," Tate said, standing over him, voice a mixture of amusement and disbelief. "Hiding from me, really, Noah?" Noah scrambled to sit up, heart hammering. "We've known each other for 24 years, Tate continued, stepping closer, the hallway light catching his eyes. "And in the span of 24 hours you're hiding from me. You've never hidden from me before." Noah's breath came fast, shallow. "I'm not hiding," he snapped, trying to push himself up. I'm keeping the situation under control." Tate's smirk didn't waver. "Control? You're running in circles, panicking. That's hiding, Noah, that's fear." "I'm not afraid of you," Noah said, voice firm despite the shaking in his hands and legs. "I'm afraid of what happens if I let you corner me, if I let you control the narrative like you always do." Tate tilted his head, studying him like a predator amused by its prey. "You think running fixes that changes anything?" Tate shut the door, but it was definitely broken after his foot pushed it off its hinges. Noah forced himself to his feet, rising from the floor, staggering slightly but keeping his gaze level. "It doesn't fix it, but it keeps me from getting hurt, and it keeps you from doing more damage than you've already done." Tate laughed softly, a low sound that didn't reach his eyes. "You're clever, you've always been clever, but hiding doesn't stop the inevitable, you know that." Noah gritted his teeth. "Maybe not, but it buys me time, and right now I need time." Tate's smirk softened just slightly, not with mercy but with grudging acknowledgement. "We'll see, Noah, we'll see." Noah and Tate were circling each other around the queen-sized bed. Noah's gaze shifted to the doorknob, fingers brushing the lock again, heart still hammering in his chest. He had to think fast. Every instinct screamed, plan, move, survive. Tate's presence in the room was suffocating, his pulse was causing his heart to beat rapidly, but Noah refused to let it corner him entirely. Not this time. "Hold still," Tate said, following Noah as he circled around the bed. "No. This will be a lot easier if you stop running away from me. Stand still so I can catch you." Tate reached for him, but Noah backed away again, keeping the bed between them. "You know what I want," Tate said, a crooked smile appearing on his face. "And you're going to give it to me because you want it too. You're just too much of a blonde coward to admit it." Noah shook his head, trying not to laugh despite himself. "Now stop moving," Tate said, taking another step toward him. "You're making this unnecessarily difficult." Noah noticed Tate's eyes as they remained fixed on him, following every movement of his body. Noah knew exactly why Tate didn't want him backing away. Tate was aroused. Noah could see it in the way Tate stood, in the unmistakable tension beneath his clothes, and suddenly the reason for Tate's relentless pursuit became obvious. Tate didn't merely want to catch him and punish him for running away. He wanted Noah close. He wanted to put his hands on him, to indulge himself in the attraction that neither of them was pretending didn't exist anymore. Noah swallowed. That realization made backing away feel considerably more dangerous. Noah had seen Tate lust after women his entire life, but he had never seen that look directed at him before. Tate looked almost lost in it. He wanted to get his hands on Noah, wanted the closeness and satisfaction of having him near, and there was an intensity in his expression that made Noah understand just how badly Tate wanted it. It wasn't because Tate believed he was entitled to Noah's body. It wasn't about taking something Noah hadn't freely chosen to give. Tate simply believed with absolute certainty that Noah wanted the same thing. And Tate was determined to make Noah admit it. Noah scrambled backward, trying to put distance between himself and Tate, but Tate was faster. In one fluid motion he closed the gap, forcing Noah to the floor. The smaller, compact body of Noah was pinned on his stomach under Tate's weight, not intimate but uncomfortably close. Tate's rough hands gripped Noah's slim hips and ribs, forcing the air out of Noah's lungs as the hazel-eyed stud climbed higher onto the blonde's back. "You know you can't hide from me," Tate said, voice tight with anger, "and it's only going to get worse if you try." Noah's chest heaved, heart pounding. "Get off me!" he shouted, struggling beneath the weight, twisting to create space. Tate's eyes darkened. You left me this morning after the best fuck of my life, he continued, packing the line between fury and incredulity. In bed, sleeping, and when I woke up, I was greeted with one of the most callous, rude messages I've ever read, and you left me with a physical problem that I still have. Noah tried to speak, but the words caught in his throat. His breathing was rapid, shallow. You're disgusting, the blonde cunt answered back. Tate's jaw clenched and his hands pressed down lightly, not to harm but to keep Noah pinned. Every inch of his posture radiated frustration, the kind that comes from feeling powerless, ignored, and abandoned. That's not what you moaned last night during the 9 rounds of hot sex we had, Tate smirked. I am not happy, Tate growled, voice low but dangerous. Do you even realize what you've done? Noah swallowed hard, trying to steady his voice. I didn't mean to. You didn't mean to? Tate interrupted sharply, leaning closer. Do you have any idea how reckless that was? How did it make me feel? Noah shook his head, heart hammering. I'm not running because I'm scared of you. I'm running because I refuse to get caught up in your anger or games again. I'm not going to be another reaction you control. I'm done with us and you, Tate. Tate froze for a fraction of a second, eyes narrowing. The rage in his expression softened ever so slightly, but only just. You think you can just run from me, hide under tables, and bolt upstairs? You made me hard and that makes you right? Noah's hands pressed against the floor, grounding himself. I'm not trying to be right. I'm trying to survive this without either of us getting hurt any more than we already have. Tate's chest rose and fell with frustration. He exhaled, voice dropping lower, almost defeated. You're stubborn, you always have been, but I swear, you can't hide from me forever. Noah didn't answer. He simply stayed pinned for a moment, catching his breath, calculating his next move. The tension in the room wasn't about intimacy, it was about power, control, and the lingering echoes of betrayal, anger, and history. And Tate, he was furious, packing the fine line between wanting to confront and needing to contain himself, an intensity that threatened to crush the room with the weight of unspoken emotions. Noah realized grimly that this was far from over. Tate's voice thundered through the hallway, every word sharp with frustration. I woke up this morning, he whispered in Noah's ear, and you weren't there. I had a rock-hard, painful boner from the dreams I had about you. After you vanished, I've been looking for you for hours, wondering what I did wrong, why you did what you did, and what the hell is going on. Noah flinched at the breath he felt from Tate's mouth on his ear, causing shivers down his spine, but didn't move from the spot he had taken for cover, his body tense, heart hammering. It's not cool, Noah, Tate continued, voice cracking with a mixture of anger and desperation. You leave me in the dark after we fuck all night, make me feel like I matter, and then, boom, you disappear. Tate leaned closer, a smirk tugging at the corner of his mouth. And that smart mouth of yours, he said, voice low and teasing, has gotten you into trouble again, not to mention what it's done to my dick, Tate moaned, kissing Noah's neck. Noah's heart skipped a beat, caught somewhere between irritation and reluctant amusement. I'm not the one chasing trouble, he shot back. Tate's grin widened. Maybe not, but I think I know a way to fix it. Before Noah could respond, Tate leaned in just close enough for their foreheads to almost touch, his intensity palpable. We're going to have a long talk about this, Tate whispered, voice rough with frustration and something else Noah couldn't name. Noah tried to move slightly on the floor, trying to keep his composure. I don't think I need fixing, he said firmly, though a tremor of anticipation ran through him. Tate chuckled, shaking his head. Oh, I know you do, but sometimes you just need to sit still and listen. The air between them crackled, tension thick and electric, intense enough to make Noah's pulse race without a single step crossing the line. Tate still pinned Noah to the bedroom floor, his body heavy and unyielding, the carpet rough against Noah's back as Tate's weight pressed him down. The air in the room hung thick with tension, the distant clatter of dishes from downstairs barely audible over Noah's ragged breaths. Tate's eyes narrowed, a flicker of jealousy twisting his features as he glared down at the blonde beneath him. I called Susie first, you know, Tate growled, his voice low and edged with frustration, lips brushing Noah's ear. Asked if she knew where you were, then I drove straight to this house empty as a ghost town, had to track your ass down like some fucking fugitive. Found you hiding under our mom's table during breakfast, pathetic, with your fiancé chatting away downstairs like nothing's wrong. Tate's hands groped Noah's lower back and hips while the blonde tried to move. Noah could feel Tate's arousal pressed firmly against his thigh as the member moved or twitched whenever Noah talked or his body jerked. Noah's face flushed hot, his body trembling under Tate's bulk, heart pounding at the thought of his fiancée just a floor below, oblivious to the danger lurking in the shadows of his own home. Noah tried to wiggle free, but this friction made Tate moan and Noah's dick stir. Noah couldn't breathe due to Tate's large body pressing down on his chest. He wheezed and couldn't breathe in enough to continue moving. Noah felt weak, but Tate smirked at him, knowing Noah couldn't move. "You're suffocating me, Tate. I can't breathe," Noah wheezed, hardly able to breathe as Tate sat on his ribs. He opened his mouth to protest, but Tate silenced him with a slow, deliberate lick along the curve of Noah's neck, tongue flat and wet, tracing from collarbone to jawline in a possessive drag that sent shivers racing down Noah's spine. "If you can't breathe, your smart mouth and small limbs won't answer back." Tate spanked Noah's ass. "I want your body again, Noah," Tate panted against Noah's damp skin, nipping lightly at the blonde's neck pulse point. "All of it, right here, right now. You think you can hide from me, from this?" His hips ground down once, hard cock straining against his jeans, rubbing insistently against Noah's thigh to emphasize the point. "You left our bed to play house with Riley at my childhood home," Tate seethed. "If I wasn't planning on thrusting into your cunt, I'd throttle you right now." While Tate sat on Noah's back, hips, and upper thighs, he started to rub on the blonde's ass. Moaning in pleasure, Noah's body excited Tate further, prompting him to grind his hips and erection against the hottest piece of ass he'd ever held. The anger in Tate's eyes softened for a beat, jealousy giving way to raw hunger as he captured Noah's lips in a deep, obscene French kiss. "You did a wicked thing," Tate breathed. Noah looked at him, confused by the weight behind the words. "You made me obsessed with you," Tate continued, his voice quieter now, almost like admitting a secret he had spent years trying to bury. "And now I can't think about anyone else, I can't focus on anything else. I've never felt this way about anybody." His anger faltered, replaced by something far more vulnerable. Tate lifted a hand, his middle finger brushing lightly against Noah's cheek, not as a gesture of cruelty, but as if he was trying to understand how someone could have so much power over him without even trying. "You hide from me," Tate whispered. "You act like I'm not even there, you treat me like I don't exist." The hurt in his voice was impossible to ignore. "You left this morning while I was asleep," he said. "You just walked away. You keep doing things that make me feel like I'm the only one holding on." Tate swallowed, his pride fighting against the confession he was desperate to make. "You did wicked things, Noah," he said softly. "You made me need you." Tate leaned in without warning, capturing Noah's mouth in a deep kiss. Scene retracted, read extended version on Wattpad. "You made me do wicked things," Tate snarled. "Stop struggling and submit." Tate caressed Noah's back. "I know you want this, but you're afraid of how this will affect everything with him." "Riley." Noah's jaw tightened. He looked away, unable to meet Tate's eyes. "It was a mistake," Noah wheezed. The words hit Tate like a physical blow. He felt something crack inside him, something that had been held together by hope and want and years of unspoken feelings. "A mistake," Tate repeated the word like it was poison on his tongue. "That's what you're calling it." "What else would you call it?" Noah's voice cracked. "I'm engaged, Tate, engaged to Riley, a guy I've been fucking for a year, a guy I love." "A year," Tate barked. Noah stared at him. "You've been betraying me for a year," Tate continued, his voice thick with accusation. "Giving your affection, your desire, your attention to someone else. You've been emotionally cheating on me." Noah laughed. Of course Tate thought that. Only Tate, with his astonishingly possessive view of their relationship, could somehow convince himself that Noah had been cheating on him when they had never been a couple. Tate had never dated Noah, they had never been romantically involved. They had never agreed to exclusivity. Hell, Tate hadn't even approached Noah with romantic intentions until after all of this had already begun. Yet somehow in Tate's mind, Noah had been cheating for an entire year. Romantically, Tate was completely full of himself. The scowl of indignation on his face made it obvious what really bothered him. Tate genuinely believed Noah had somehow been obligated to remain available to him, even when Tate had never actually claimed him as a partner. "You can't cheat on someone you were never with," Noah said. Tate's expression darkened. Apparently, that distinction meant absolutely nothing to him. If Tate hadn't been so completely distracted by being this close to Noah, Noah knew he would have gone downstairs and punched Riley simply for daring to have access to him. But Tate was here now, lying only inches from Noah's face. Instead of saying anything, Tate reached over and gently swatted Noah's blonde hair, the gesture almost childish in its teasing. "Bad Noe," he murmured. "Bad Noe, I'm here now," Tate said, "and I forbid it." Noah laughed. "Do you think this is funny?" Tate demanded, the vein in his neck pulsed. "You think it's funny knowing that you've been slipping into another guy's bed?" Noah kept laughing, though there was little humor left in his expression. "Tate, we've never been in a relationship, we've never had an understanding between us. Before last night, whatever we had was the same thing I have with Susie, Andrew, and the rest of the group from Brown, friendship, or at least that's what you kept selling me for 24 years. Tate stared at him. "Why did you gaslight me for all those years?" Noah continued. "You cornered me in my own house last night, crossed a line, got what you wanted, and now suddenly you think you have some claim over me." His voice hardened. "I'm with my fiancée now, we're buddies, and I'd like to keep you as a childhood friend." Tate's expression tightened. "You think you can treat me like your 50th option?" Noah asked. "Like a coat shoved into the back of your wardrobe, something you ignore until you finally realize it's cold outside and decide you need me." For once Tate had no immediate answer. Noah looked directly at him. "You don't get to decide that I belong to you just because you finally decided you wanted me. In a few hours, when it gets dark outside, there's only one place I'm going to be," Noah said. "In Riley's bed in the penthouse he just moved into. I'm going to spend the night with him, and I'm not going to think about you at all." He paused, watching Tate's expression change. "Or maybe I will. Maybe Riley and I will laugh about how childish you're being. Maybe I'll compare Riley to you." Noah smiled faintly. "Or maybe I'll compare you to Riley, and I'm pretty sure you won't come out the winner." The words landed exactly as Noah intended. Tate's expression hardened. The anger that had been simmering beneath the surface finally broke through. "How dare you!" Tate shouted. He was so angry that the words came out with enough force that a fleck of spit landed on Noah's cheek. Tate barely seemed to notice. "I'm Tate Blue," he snapped. "You don't treat me like this, nobody treats me like this." Noah laughed. "Well, I just did." Tate's jaw tightened while he gripped Noah's shoulders. "Noah. No, get off me, Tate. I want to go downstairs and kiss my fiancée." The word fiancée hit Tate like a physical blow. His expression changed instantly. "Don't," Tate warned. Noah raised an eyebrow. "Don't what?" "Don't keep saying that." "My fiancée." Tate glared at him. "Yes." Noah smiled, deliberately enjoying the reaction. "I might take him upstairs, too. We could spend the evening together while you sit here listening and imagining whatever you want." Tate's nostrils flared. "You're doing this on purpose." "Obviously. You're trying to make me jealous." "No," Noah said. "I'm reminding you that you don't get to decide what I do." Tate stared at him, visibly struggling to contain himself. Noah continued, "I'm petty, Tate, very petty. 10 years of waiting around for Mr. I want what I want, and if I don't get what I want, I'll lose my temper until everybody gives it to me." Tate's eyes narrowed. "And now you're discovering that I have my own plans. You think this is funny?" "A little." Tate looked toward the bedroom door, as though he could somehow see Riley downstairs through the walls. The thought of Noah walking back into that room with Riley was clearly eating him alive. "You're really going to go downstairs and sit beside him after everything that happened between us?" "Yes." "And you're going to act like I don't exist?" "I'm going to act like you're my childhood friend." Tate scoffed bitterly. "That's all I am. That's what you told me I was for 10 years. Tate fell silent. Noah watched the jealousy move across his face, first disbelief, then anger, then something dangerously close to panic. "I want to go downstairs," Noah said. "I want to spend time with my fiancé while he gets to know your mother." Tate's expression hardened again. "And later," Noah added, "he'll get to know me." Tate's eyes snapped back to his. The implication was enough. "Don't," he said quietly. Noah smiled. For once, Tate Blue had nothing clever to say. He was simply jealous. Jealous that Riley could walk into Noah's life and receive the affection Tate had spent years pretending he didn't want. Jealous that Noah could look at another man with tenderness. Jealous that someone else could occupy the place Tate had suddenly decided was his. And perhaps worst of all, Tate knew Noah was doing it deliberately. Every word was a reminder that Tate had waited too long to admit what he wanted. "Now let me up," Noah said. Tate didn't move. Noah stared at him. "Tate, do you?" The question hung in the air, sharp and dangerous. "What? Do you love him, really love him, or are you just scared or trying to get my attention? If you want my attention, Noah, you have it. I won't have any man share your bed, understood?" Noah's hands balled into fists at his sides. "You don't get to ask me that. You don't get to question my relationship after one night." "One night?" Tate stepped closer, his voice rising. "One night? We've been dancing around this for years, Noah. Years of sleeping in the same bed, of touching, of looking at each other like we wanted to devour each other. And you're telling me it was just one night? I fucking made love to you last night. I admitted I crave you and love you passionately, but you never said if you felt the way I feel, Noe." "Stop." No, I'm not stopping, not this time." Tate grabbed Noah's shoulders, forcing him to meet his gaze. "Tell me you don't feel this. Tell me you don't feel something for me. Look me in the eyes and lie to me." Noah's lips parted, but no words came out. His eyes glistened with unshed tears, his breath coming in ragged gasps. "Admit it," Tate ordered. "Admit you love me, not the way you love your friends, not the way you've always claimed to love me. Love me the way you're supposed to love your fiancé." Noah shook his head. "Why should I be honest with you, Tate?" Tate stared at him. "Why should I tell you what I feel, or what I don't feel?" Noah continued. "You made me wait 20 years for you to admit that I wasn't crazy. 20 years of wondering whether every look, every accidental touch, every moment between us meant something, or whether I had imagined all of it." Tate's expression faltered. "So maybe I'm going to take a page out of the Tate Blue Handbook," Noah said bitterly. "Maybe I'll make you wait 20 years. 20 years. Exactly. Noah. I have no reason to tell you how I feel. I have no incentive to make this easy for you. I had a great teacher." Tate's jaw clenched. "I learned from the best." Noah stepped closer, his voice quieter now. "So maybe I'll wait until I'm 48. Maybe in 20 years I'll finally tell you exactly what I felt all those years ago." Tate stared at him, stunned. "And by then," Noah continued, "you probably won't even care. You'll have moved on. You'll have found someone else to lust for, chase, someone else to obsess over, someone else to torment." Tate's face tightened at the thought. Noah gave him a small, humorless smile. "See how that feels, Tate, waiting for someone to finally tell you whether any of it meant something." Tate growled, but Noah continued. "I'm going downstairs, and I'm going to spend some time with Emily." He paused deliberately. "Oh, excuse me, Riley." The correction was intentional, and Noah watched it land exactly where he wanted it to. "Yeah," Noah said, his voice turning cold. "I see it now. I see that you care about me. I see that you want me, but I like that flashy little thing over there instead." Tate's face tightened. Noah wasn't finished. "Don't go anywhere, Noah," he said, deliberately slipping into Tate's old role. "I'll be back, and I expect you to still be here when I return." He held Tate's gaze. "I'll live my life, give my attention to whoever I want, and I'll come back whenever I feel like it, and you'll still be waiting." Tate stared at him, visibly furious. "And maybe in 20 years," Noah continued, "I'll finally notice that you aren't just a boy." His voice softened, somehow making the words hurt more. "You're not just a piece of furniture. I want you to be there whenever I need you. You're not just the person who keeps the bed warm when I want company." Noah stepped closer. "You're a person." A long silence followed. "And maybe then," Noah said, "I'll finally notice that you're actually attractive." Tate's expression went rigid. Noah gave him a small, bitter smile. "Now you know what it feels like." Noah continued in an exaggerated imitation of Tate's voice. "Thank you so much for the offer of your love and companionship, but I have another 2 million offers to consider. I'm going to explore all those other possibilities, and then, perhaps, I'll get back to you." He gave Tate a mocking smile. "Probably never." Tate's expression darkened. "I'll breadcrumb you just enough to make you believe I might eventually notice you. I'll give you just enough hope to keep you waiting, but I'll never actually choose you." Noah's voice became colder. And the only reason I'll finally notice you 20 years from now is that I'm bored. Maybe my wife isn't paying me enough attention. Maybe I've run out of distractions. Maybe I'll be desperate to prove to myself that there's one last boundary I haven't crossed." Tate stared at him. "I've done everything else," Noah continued, still speaking in Tate's voice. "But somehow I never bothered to acknowledge the person who has been beside me all along." He paused. "My oldest friend, the person I always assumed would still be there whenever I decided I wanted him." The mocking smile disappeared. "And then I'll expect everyone to applaud me for finally noticing you." Tate's face had gone completely still. Noah looked directly into his eyes. "That's what you taught me, Tate." The silence afterward was brutal. "You taught me that someone can love you for 20 years and still be treated like they're nothing." Tate fumed. "You're hateful," Tate shouted again. His anger was so explosive that spittle flew as he spoke, landing across Noah's cheek. Noah didn't flinch. Instead, he gave Tate a mocking smile and slipped back into his impression of him. "Oh, you're talking to me? I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I was too busy looking for my next distraction." Tate's face hardened. "Who cares if I'm married?" Noah continued, exaggerating Tate's voice. "I can do whatever I want. In fact, I'm going to do whatever I want simply because I can, and if you don't like it, that's your problem." He paused, letting the words sink in. "So, what if I treat people terribly? So, what if I make my wife regret marrying me? Who cares, as long as I'm happy? Nobody else's opinion or feelings matters." Tate stared at him, breathing heavily. "So, what if my father died?" Noah continued mercilessly. "I'm going to celebrate the fact that now I can do whatever I want without consequences." Noah's expression changed. "And so what if Noah has feelings?" That one landed differently. "I'll just wait until he gets engaged," Noah said, still in Tate's voice. "Wait until he announces it to everyone, and then finally decide that's the perfect moment to tear his life apart." He dropped the impression. Noah looked directly at Tate. "That's what you sound like to me, Tate." The room went silent. "And you hate hearing it," Noah added quietly, "because somewhere underneath all that anger you know I'm completely right." Tate looked furious. No one dared challenge Tate Blue, not really. Susie had tried a few times over the years, and Tate had always found a way to put her in her place, especially at his father's funeral when everyone else had been too stunned to confront him. But Noah wasn't backing down. He glanced toward the wall socket, then looked back at Tate with a deliberately innocent expression. "Oh, look," Noah said, "there's something over there that might actually let you make advances on it." Tate narrowed his eyes. "Why don't you go flirt with the wall socket?" Noah continued, his sarcasm razor-sharp. "Go take out your dick, shove it in there and thrust a few times. Maybe you'll finally get the charge and spark you're looking for." He shrugged. "Because you're not getting one from me." Tate's jaw clenched. Noah smiled. For once, Tate Blue had met someone who wasn't intimidated by him, and Noah seemed determined to make him regret every second of it. Tate grabbed Noah's wrist before he could reach the bedroom door. Noah froze instantly. "Tate," he warned quietly. "Don't leave. You're hurting me." Tate let go immediately like he'd been burned, but Noah was already angry now, grief and exhaustion spilling over after years of swallowing it down. "You don't get to touch me whenever you decide you want me," Noah snapped. "I said I was sorry. And I said it doesn't fix anything." Tate shoved a hand through his hair violently. "Then what do you want from me?" "I wanted you years ago." The scream echoed through the room. Both of them stopped breathing. Noah's chest heaved as tears rolled down his face, unchecked now. "I wanted you when I was 18 and sleeping inches away from you every night, wondering if you could hear my heart pounding," Noah said brokenly. "I wanted you when you brought girls to your car or a hotel room, then pretended I didn't exist afterward. I wanted you when you left without saying goodbye." Tate looked sick. "You think this hurts you?" Noah laughed shakily. "Try wanting someone for most of your life only to realize they'll never love you enough to stay." "I stayed last night." Noah's face twisted instantly. "That's exactly the problem." Tate moved toward him again. Noah shoved him back hard this time. "Stop cornering me." Tate stumbled but immediately grabbed Noah's arms again in desperation. You keep acting as if Riley saved you. He did save me. The words exploded out of Noah so forcefully that Tate physically recoiled. Noah was crying openly now. He loved me when you wouldn't, Noah shouted. He held me together when you disappeared. Tate's jealousy snapped hot and immediate. You love him that much, Tate spat. Yes. Bullshit. Noah shoved him again, but Tate caught his wrists this time. Let go of me. Tell me you don't think about me when he touches you. Noah's expression cracked. Tate saw it. And that tiny flicker of hesitation destroyed the last thread of restraint he had left. You do, Tate said hoarsely. Noah jerked against his grip. Stop. You compare him to me. Tate. You still love me more. Let me go. Noah twisted hard and suddenly they were struggling. Not clean punches. Not real violence. Just years of anger and want and heartbreak colliding all at once. Tate tried to hold on to him. Noah tried to shove him away. They crashed into the edge of the bed, knocking the lamp sideways. It shattered loudly against the floor. Neither of them cared. Tate, what are you? No. Noah pushed against Tate's chest with both hands, but Tate caught him around the waist desperately, almost like he was trying to keep Noah from vanishing. Get off me. Noah, please. Noah shoved at Tate's shoulders furiously, but Tate grabbed his wrists again, pinning them briefly against the bed. The position stunned them both into silence. Too familiar. Too intimate. Noah's breathing turned shaky. Tate stared down at him with devastated eyes, hair falling into his face, hands trembling where they held Noah's wrists. You're killing me, Tate whispered. Noah's eyes filled again immediately. Tate. I can't do this, Tate said brokenly. I can't watch somebody else have you. Noah tried to turn his face away, but Tate loosened one hand and caught his jaw gently. The tenderness made Noah look worse somehow. You had me, Noah whispered. That's the tragedy. Tate's composure finally cracked completely. He lowered his forehead against Noah's shoulder, still half holding him down on the carpet like he was afraid Noah would disappear if he let go. Noah felt him shaking. Actually shaking. I hate him, Tate admitted against Noah's shirt. Noah closed his eyes painfully. I know. I hate that he gets mornings with you. I hate that he gets your laugh. I hate that he knows how to calm you down now. Tate's voice broke apart. I hate that I wasn't enough before somebody else finally was. Noah's anger faltered then. Slowly, carefully, he pulled one hand free from Tate's grip. Tate let him. Noah touched the side of Tate's face. That almost made it worse. You were enough, Noah whispered. You were just too late. Stop thinking, Tate rubbed himself against Noah's pinned back, his voice dropping to a low murmur. Stop thinking and just feel. He reached out, his fingers brushing Noah's jaw. Noah shivered at the touch, his eyes fluttering closed. Riley doesn't know you as I do. He doesn't know what makes you laugh, what makes you cry, what makes you scream. Tate's thumb traced Noah's lower lip. He doesn't know how to take you apart piece by piece until there's nothing left but pleasure. Tate. I know you, Noah. I know every inch of your body, every secret you've ever told me, every fear you've ever hidden. And I know that you want this, that you've always wanted this. Noah's breath hitched. It's not that simple. It can be, Tate pressed closer, his body flush against Noah's. It can be as simple as you letting go, as simple as you trusting me. I don't trust you. Then I'll fix it. Noah's resistance crumbled like paper in water. He didn't say yes, he didn't need to. The way his body leaned into Tate's, the way his hands came up to grip Tate's shirt, the way his lips parted in surrender, that was all the answer Tate needed. I can't, Tate, we're through and I need to go downstairs to Riley. There was never an us. We were never anything more than two kids who stayed warm together at night. It doesn't matter what we feel. I don't want to be with you, Tate. I don't care what my body says. I don't care what people think. I'm not ruled by my attraction and my carnal lusts. I want to be with somebody who would give me the kind of life I want, and that's not you. The room still felt like it belonged to a moment that had already ended. Noah tried to move underneath Tate on the bed near the edge of the bed, hair still disheveled from our fight, or what little sleep there had been. The silence between them wasn't empty. It was loaded, heavy with everything neither of them had said out loud for months. Tate didn't move at first. He just watched him as if he stared long enough Noah might fold back into place as nothing had ever broken. You ran, Tate said quietly. Noah let out a sharp breath. I left. That's the same thing. It's not. A beat. Tate moved closer, his voice cracked before he could stop it. Don't do this again. Noah finally looked at him, really looked. I already did it, Tate. That landed harder than anything loud. Tate's jaw tightened, his hands flexed at his sides like he was holding himself together by force alone. I can fix it, he said quickly. I can fix all of it, just stop walking away from me. Noah shook his head. You don't fix people, you don't fix me. I'm not trying to fix you, Tate snapped, then immediately softened like he was afraid of scaring him further. I'm trying to keep you. That's not love. Tate froze at that. For a second he looked almost offended, like the word had been twisted into something unrecognizable. Then his voice dropped smaller. Please. Noah blinked. Tate. Please, Tate repeated like the word itself might change reality. Don't shut me out, don't do that thing where you decide I don't get a say in you anymore. Silence again. Tate's left hand came up and gently caressed Noah's cheek. The touch was warm, tender, almost painfully gentle after everything that had been said between them. I've never been in love, Noah, Tate said quietly. Noah looked at him. I've never loved the right person. I've never known what it feels like to be loved in a way that was healthy or safe, and if anyone ever did love me, it wasn't healthy, it wasn't consensual, it wasn't right. His voice faltered. I don't know how to love someone in a healthy way. For once, Tate didn't try to hide behind arrogance or humor. I've never seen it. His thumb brushed gently across Noah's cheek. But maybe you could show me. Noah remained silent. Show me how to love someone without controlling them, without hurting them, without making them prove that they belong to me. Tate swallowed. Show me how to love someone and still let them be free. His eyes stayed on Noah's. I don't know how to do this, Noah, but if you're willing, maybe you could teach me. Noah didn't know what to do with the gentleness. That was what frightened him most. Tate had spent years being loud, arrogant, impossible, and infuriating. Noah knew how to fight with that Tate. He knew how to argue with him, mock him, walk away from him. But this Tate, the one touching his cheek as though Noah were something precious, was harder to understand. Noah looked into his eyes and tried to find the arrogance that usually lived there. It wasn't there. For once, Tate wasn't demanding anything. He wasn't telling Noah what he wanted. He wasn't insisting Noah belonged to him. He wasn't trying to win. He was asking. And somehow that frightened Noah more than all the yelling had. You really don't know how, Noah whispered. Tate shook his head. No. Noah swallowed. He thought about 22 years of friendship, 22 years of confusing moments, accidental touches, arguments that felt too intense, silences that lasted too long, and things neither of them had ever dared to name. He thought about all the times he'd wondered whether Tate felt something more. And now Tate was standing in front of him, finally admitting that he didn't know what love was supposed to look like. I've had stalkers, Tate said quietly, a lot of them when I was a boy, when I was a young man. Noah listened without interrupting. The only affection I ever really saw was obsession disguised as love, adults who wanted something from me, people who wanted to groom me, control me, possess me. That was what I learned love was supposed to look like. Tate looked down. I've never had someone love me in a healthy way. His voice became quieter. So, I'm sorry if I treated you like you were a placeholder, if I used you because I knew you would always be there, I'm sorry. Noah felt his chest tighten. I don't know how to do this, Tate admitted. I never had a good teacher. He looked back at Noah. I've only seen people who call obsession love, people who were possessive, controlling, manipulative, people who acted like loving someone meant having a claim over them. Tate swallowed. So when you tell me I don't get to control you, part of me doesn't understand what you're asking me to do instead. Noah said nothing. I never learned what autonomy was, Tate continued. I never learned what consent was supposed to look like in a relationship. I learned that if you wanted someone badly enough, you held on tighter. His eyes filled with shame. I don't want to keep doing that to you. Noah studied him. Noah looked away first. That hurt more than rejection would have. Tate swallowed hard, his next words came out before he could stop them. Marry me. Noah went still. The air changed, like the room itself didn't know how to hold what had just been said. Noah slowly turned back. What? Tate stepped forward, desperate now, voice trembling but stubborn. I'm serious, marry me, Noe. The nickname cracked something open in Noah's expression. Not softness. Not hope. Something like grief. Tate, Noah said carefully, like he was speaking to someone standing too close to a ledge. You don't fix this by trapping it inside a promise. It's not a trap. Yes, it is, Noah said, sharper now. You're trying to turn panic into permanence. Tate shook his head violently. No, I'm trying to keep you from leaving. We've been partners for decades, we just couldn't admit it out loud to each other and label how we felt. And I am telling you I'm not yours to keep. That stopped everything. Tate's face went still, as the sentence had physically hit him. For a second, jealousy flickered through him, not just of other people but of whatever part of Noah had learned to stand so firmly without him. You already decided, Tate said bitterly, before I even got a chance. No, Noah said, I decided because you keep turning love into something I have to survive. That landed differently. Tate's voice broke, so that's it, you're just done. Noah hesitated. That hesitation was the only mercy in the room. I'm done loving you, Noah said quietly. I'm done being pulled under by it or labeling how I feel for you as romantic. Tate stared at him like he didn't understand the language anymore. Then softer, almost childlike in its disbelief. If I change, would you stay? Noah closed his eyes for a second. When he opened them again, there was no cruelty in them, only certainty. That's not something I can answer for you. Tate laughed once, broken and humorless. So, you're just going to walk out and leave me here with all of this? I'm leaving because I have to, Noah said, not because I want to win. That was the final fracture. Tate stepped back as the space between them had turned into a wall. And Noah didn't move forward to close it. Not this time. No, Tate said fiercely. They were still tangled on the bed, Noah flat on his back against the carpet while Tate sat over his hips, breathing hard, one hand braced beside Noah's head to keep himself upright. The lamp shards glittered beside the overturned nightstand. Neither of them moved away. Tate looked wrecked. Not angry anymore. Just desperate. I had a safe wife and a mundane, straight life, Tate said, voice shaking, and it was miserable, Noah. Noah's chest tightened immediately. Tate. No, listen to me, Tate leaned closer. I did everything right, I tried so hard to be normal, I kept thinking eventually I'd wake up and stop wanting you. His laugh came out broken. But every apartment or mansion I lived in felt empty, every relationship felt fake. Noah swallowed hard, staring up at him. Tate's eyes were bloodshot. Do you know what I used to do? Tate asked quietly. I used to reach across the bed in the middle of the night expecting you to be there. Noah's face crumpled slightly. And every time, Tate whispered, it was somebody else. The room went still. Noah looked away first. That isn't fair to them. I know. It isn't fair to Riley either. At Riley's name, something ugly flickered across Tate's face again. Riley might make you happy, Tate said tightly, but you deserve more. Noah frowned immediately. Don't do that. Tate. Would he listen to your heartbeat because it calms him down? Noah's breathing caught. Tate's voice dropped lower now, more intimate, more dangerous. Would he know the difference between your fake laugh and your real one? Noah stared at the ceiling. Would he know you bite the inside of your cheek when you're trying not to cry? Stop. Would he know you still get nightmares after thunderstorms? Noah shoved weakly at Tate's chest. Stop talking like that. But it's true. You don't get to weaponize knowing me. That made Tate go still. Noah's eyes filled again, furious now through the grief. You think loving me harder makes you better for me? Noah asked. You think because you loved me obsessively it means something holy. Tate opened his mouth. You left, Noah said. The words hit harder this time. Because Noah was calmer now. And calm hurt worse. You left me with all that love and nowhere to put it. Tate looked gutted. Noah pushed against Tate's chest again, trying to sit up, but Tate instinctively steadied him, hands gripping Noah's waist. The touch lingered too long. Both of them noticed. Noah's voice dropped quieter. "You know what Riley does when I have nightmares?" Tate's jaw tightened instantly. "He wakes up with me," Noah continued. "He doesn't ask questions, he just holds my hand until I fall back asleep." Tate looked away. "He learned how I take my coffee." Silence. Tate's breathing sharpened. "And when I panic," Noah whispered, tears slipping down his temples into his hair, "he never makes me feel ashamed for it." Tate's face twisted with jealousy, so intense it almost looked painful. "You love him," Tate said quietly. "Yes. But not like me." Noah shut his eyes immediately. "Tate, you don't ache for him the way you ache for me." "That isn't romantic," Noah snapped suddenly. "Do you hear yourself?" Tate stared down at him stubbornly. "It's true." "No, it's unhealthy." Tate laughed once under his breath. "Maybe." "I'm serious." "So am I." Noah shook his head hard. "This is exactly what I mean," he said. "You think love has to destroy you to count." Tate didn't answer. That silence was answer enough. Noah stared at him for a long moment before speaking again, softer now. "You know what the worst part is?" Tate's eyes lifted to his immediately. "A part of me still wants this." Tate inhaled sharply. Noah laughed bitterly at himself. "I hate that," his voice cracked. "I hate that after everything you can still look at me and I forget how angry I am." Tate's grip on Noah's waist tightened unconsciously. Noah felt it. "Tate," Noah whispered carefully, "you are not the only person who loved desperately." That broke something in Tate's expression. "For years," Noah continued, "I would have burned my whole life down if you'd asked me to." Then do it now." "No." The answer was immediate. Firm. Tate looked stunned by it. Noah reached up slowly and grabbed Tate's wrist where it rested against his stomach. "You know why Riley scares you?" Noah asked quietly. Tate said nothing. "Because he loves me without needing me to suffer first." The words landed deep. Tate's face hardened defensively. "You think I want you to suffer. I think you only understand love when it hurts." "Noah, you talk about graves and obsession and ruining lives like they're proof of devotion." Noah shook his head slowly. "But sometimes love is just staying." Tate looked suddenly furious again, not at Noah but at himself. "I tried to stay. You tried after you lost me." Tate's eyes burned. "That still counts." Noah's expression softened tragically. "I know it does." For a second, neither of them spoke. Tate was still sitting over him. Still holding him. Still looking at Noah like he was the center of every terrible, beautiful thing in his life. And Noah still looked at Tate like part of him belonged there. That was the problem. That was always the problem. Finally Noah whispered, almost too quietly to hear. "If you had come back 6 months after you abandoned me." Tate stopped breathing. Noah's eyes closed. "I would have gone with you or taken you back." Tate stared at him for a long time after that confession. "I would have gone with you." The words hollowed him out. All those years. All that fear. And he had still missed Noah by inches. Tate finally exhaled shakily and climbed off him. The sudden absence of his weight felt wrong immediately. Cold. Noah stayed on the carpet for a second, staring at the ceiling with wet eyes, both of them breathing hard in the destroyed room. Then Noah slowly rolled onto his side. Tate watched silently as Noah crawled toward the door first instead of standing. Exhausted. Emotionally wrecked. One hand pressed into the carpet, while the other wiped angrily at his face. Tate almost reached for him again. But he stopped himself. Noah grabbed the edge of the dresser and finally pulled himself upright onto unsteady legs. The room spun slightly. Tate stood too fast behind him. Noah. Noah kept his back turned. For a second, he just stood there staring at the bedroom door like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Then he laughed quietly. "Not happy. Just tired. Goodbye, Tate." Tate froze. Noah swallowed hard before continuing. "Let's avoid each other," his voice trembled despite his effort to steady it, "and don't call me." Tate's face drained of color immediately. Noah opened the door halfway. Have a nice life. The sentence hit like a gunshot. Because it was the exact wording. The exact cruel wording Tate had written 2 years ago in the note he left behind when he vanished. Tate's stomach twisted violently. No. Noah paused but didn't turn around. Tate's breathing became uneven. No, he repeated, harsher this time. Noah finally looked back over his shoulder, eyes swollen red. You said it first, Noah whispered. Tate looked like he might actually collapse. That was different. Noah laughed painfully. Was it? Tate stared at him helplessly. I didn't mean it. You still left. Noah moved a step through the doorway. Panic detonated inside Tate instantly. Before Noah could react, Tate crossed the room and grabbed him hard around the waist from behind. Noah gasped. Tate. You're not leaving me. The desperation in Tate's voice was terrifying. Noah struggled immediately, grabbing the doorframe. Let go of me. No. Tate dragged him backward into the room again. The door slammed shut loudly behind them. Noah, please. Get off. Noah elbowed backward hard into Tate's ribs, but Tate barely reacted. He just held tighter, almost frantic now. You can't say goodbye to me like that. You never said goodbye to me 2 years ago. The scream cracked through the room. Tate finally loosened enough for Noah to twist around. Noah shoved him hard in the chest. You left me with a fucking note. Tate grabbed Noah's arms before he could get away again. You think I don't know that? You abandoned me. I know. Noah shoved against him violently. I begged you to come home in my mind. I was scared, Noe. And I was in love with you. Silence crashed down instantly afterward. Noah's chest heaved. Tate's grip weakened in shock, even though he already knew. Hearing it scream was different. Noah's eyes filled again immediately. For years, Noah whispered shakily, I loved you enough to destroy myself. Tate looked devastated. And then you left me anyway. Noah tried to pull free again, but Tate suddenly pushed him backward in panic. Noah stumbled onto the bed. Tate. Tate climbed over him immediately, pinning him down against the mattress before Noah could stand again. Not violent. Desperate. Like a drowning man holding onto the last thing keeping him alive. No, Tate said again, breath shaking. No, you don't get to leave me either. Noah stared up at him in disbelief. Tate's expression cracked. Noah's anger flickered. Tate. You can hate me, Tate said, gripping Noah's wrists against the sheets. You can scream at me for the rest of our lives, but don't walk out that door and disappear. Noah's face twisted painfully. You disappeared first. I know. You broke me first. Tate shut his eyes. I know. The honesty made Noah falter for half a second. Tate lowered his forehead against Noah's shoulder again, holding him there like he was terrified Noah would vanish if he loosened his grip even slightly. Noe, he whispered brokenly, please. Noah swallowed hard. You're hurting me. Tate released his wrists instantly. Noah rubbed at them, breathing unevenly. The guilt on Tate's face was immediate and horrible. I'm sorry, Tate whispered. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. You can't keep doing this, Noah said quietly. Tate looked up. You can't keep loving me like a disaster. The sentence nearly destroyed him. Because Noah sounded heartbroken saying it. Not angry. Heartbroken. Noah looked at Tate for a long moment before speaking again. You know what the worst part is? Tate said nothing. I still want you to touch me, Noah's voice cracked violently, even now. Tate groped Noah's shoulders, trying to show Noah how much the blonde affected his thoughts. Noah whimpered, his hands tightening on Tate's shirt. We shouldn't. We shouldn't do a lot of things, but here we are. Tell me to stop, Tate's voice was low, dangerous. Tell me and I will, but if you don't say it, I'm going to take you apart piece by piece until you forget your own name. Noah's eyes were dark, pupils blown wide. I don't want complications. Say it. I can't do this with. Scene retracted, read extended version on Wattpad. Tate and Noah have sex. Tate. Shut up and feel. Look at me. Noah's eyes opened, glassy and desperate. Tate, no, I'm marrying. You're moving in with me, if not today, then soon. If you won't marry me, Noah, then I'll have to spend the next 40 years convincing us to be together or talking you out of leaving me. Tate said, "You gaslit me for years. I thought you were straight, so I didn't say anything. If I told you how I had felt, it would have destroyed our relationship because you weren't into girls and straight boys don't want to sleep next to queer men. I've been thinking about this for years, wondering what you'd taste like, how you'd sound, how you'd feel in my mouth." "I can't, Riley. Tell me to stop at any time, Noe." Noah kept uttering excuses about Riley, marriage, and it's too late. Tate kissed Noah while Tate proved why the blonde's objections were BS. The words were cruel, calculated. He wanted to remind Noah what he was risking, what he was choosing. "Riley will want." Don't talk about him," Tate hissed. "Why not?" Noah said. "Are you thinking about him right now? You only want me, understand? I want him, I need Riley." Tate leaned forward, pressing his chest to Noah's back, his lips to Noah's ear. "I love you, I've loved you for years, and I'm sorry if that makes this complicated, but I couldn't hold it in anymore." Noah's breath hitched. "Tate. SHH, don't say anything, just feel. Riley will hear and it wills. Riley and Mom wills. Let them hear, I want everyone to know who you belong to. Noah, wake up." Noah's face fell into Tate's chest, drool running in streams down Noah's jaw. "Hey Noah, wake up, hot stuff." Tate tried to rouse the unmoving body against his form. "For Christ's sake," Talia yelled from below, "are you two dead or deaf? Get down here." Tate had forgotten about his mother and that interloper, Riley. Noah was out cold. There was no inclination that Noah knew where he was. Tate felt bad that he might have been too rough on Noah, but his ex-buddy was smiling in his sleep. Tate found his clothes and redressed, and then he combed his hair. Noah roused 3 minutes later. "Riley, what happened?" Tate froze, holding the comb next to his ear. Noah saw the wrong guy in the bedroom and he looked away. "I need to go to Riley," Noah finally said, crawling out of the spare room bed. Tate's arms tightened around him. "No, stay here and I'll make an excuse downstairs. I'll be back up in a few minutes." "No," Noah shook his head. "Riley needs me so, I'm sure." Noah turned to face him, his eyes meeting Tate's. "What we have, this isn't something I can walk towards. I don't want to walk away from Riley." Talia's sharp voice broke Tate from his post-orgasmic bliss. "Boys, get down here and stop roughhousing. Riley is ready to take a tour of the house, so come here." "Tate, leave Noah alone if you can't play nice." Noah shook his head again, jaw tight with frustration. "This isn't happening again, Tate. It was a mistake. I don't need complications while planning a wedding, so stay away from me." He yanked a shirt over his head and angrily dressed at the edge of the bed, movements sharp and careless. Tate sat motionless in nothing but his shorts, watching him with a hollow expression that only made Noah more irritated. The silence between them felt thick, broken only by the rustle of fabric and Noah's uneven breathing. "Tate, I mean it." Noah shoved his foot into a shoe without looking at it. "Whatever this is, it's over." Tate finally stood slow and uncertain. His eyes fixed on Noah like he was watching something slip out of reach. "You keep calling it a mistake like that's supposed to erase it." "It should," Noah snapped instantly. "But it doesn't," Tate's voice lowered, "not for me." Noah grabbed his jacket off the floor, refusing to look directly at him now. That was the problem. Looking at Tate too long made his resolve weaker than he wanted it to be. "I'm marrying Riley." Talia's voice suddenly rose from downstairs. "Tatum Joseph Cornelius Blue." Tate froze. Noah blinked. "Stop annoying Noah and get down here," Talia shouted. "Can't you two talk things out like normal people? The walls are shaking." Tate slowly looked toward the door. Noah pressed his lips together, fighting a laugh. "Tatum," Talia called again. "I am not asking a third time." Tate sighed. "Yes, Mother." "Good, now get downstairs before I come up there myself." Tate muttered something under his breath. Noah finally laughed. "What?" Tate asked. "Nothing. You're laughing at me." "No. You absolutely are." From downstairs came Talia's voice again. "I can still hear both of you." Tate closed his eyes. "This is humiliating." Noah grinned. "For once I agree with your mother." The words landed hard in the room. Tate swallowed, shoulders tense. "So that's it, you just pretend none of this ever happened." "Yes." Noah moved for the door, but Tate stepped forward instinctively before stopping himself at the last second, fists clenching at his sides instead of reaching for him. The restraint looked painful. "Noah." Don't. Noah opened the door. You said you cared about me, then let me go. Tate shook his head slowly, running a hand through his hair like he was trying to steady himself. I already lived the conventional life, Noah. Wife, white picket fence, smiling in-laws, wedding announcements taped to the refrigerator. He gave a humorless laugh. I did all of it. Noah kept dressing, refusing to give him more than a glance as he buttoned his pants with irritated, jerky movements. Good for you. You think I'm joking? Tate asked quietly. You think I'm trying to ruin your life because I'm bored. I think you don't know when to stop. Tate leaned back against the dresser, eyes fixed on Noah. The anger rolling off Noah should have pushed him away, but instead, Tate found himself watching the flashes of pale skin that disappeared as Noah dressed. The line of Noah's waist vanished beneath the waistband of his pants. His shirt fell back into place. Every second felt like a door closing. I'm serious, Tate said. That life didn't hold Chloe and me together because pretending to be happy isn't enough. You can play straight domestic fantasy all you want, but eventually it cracks. Noah scoffed loudly. You don't know anything about my relationship. I know that look. What look? The one where you're trying to convince yourself harder than you're convincing me. Noah spun around sharply. You think this is about me secretly wanting excitement or drama? That's arrogance, Tate. I think you're terrified of being honest. And I think you're projecting your divorce onto me. The words hit harder than Noah intended. Tate's jaw flexed once, but he didn't lash out. You really believe marrying Riley fixes everything? Tate asked after a moment. It's not supposed to fix anything, it's called growing up. Tate laughed again under his breath. That's exactly what I told myself when I got married. Noah grabbed his belt off the bed. Stop comparing me to you. Why? Because you hear how similar it sounds. No, because unlike you, I actually know what I want. Tate's eyes narrowed slightly. Do you? Yes. Then why are you shaking? Noah froze for half a second before aggressively threading the belt through the loops of his pants. I'm not. You are. Tate stepped closer, voice softer now. You've been angry since the second you woke up because anger's easier than admitting you felt something. I didn't. That's a lie. Noah looked away first, which only encouraged Tate. You kissed me back, Tate continued carefully. You held on to me like you didn't want me to stop. It shouldn't have happened. But it did. And it was a mistake. Tate's expression tightened. You keep saying that like repetition makes it true. Noah slammed the belt buckle shut. What do you want from me? Seriously, you want me to throw away my entire life because of one night? No, Tate's voice dropped lower. I want you to stop acting like you're sleepwalking into a future you don't even sound excited about. I love Riley. Tate studied him for a long moment. Maybe you do. The answer caught Noah off guard. But love isn't always the same thing as being alive, Tate added. Noah rolled his eyes immediately, though his chest felt tight. You sound insane. Maybe, Tate shrugged faintly, but at least I'm honest. Noah grabbed his jacket and shoved his arms into it angrily. You know what your problem is? You think because your marriage is on the rocks, everybody else's eventually will too. That's not my problem. Then what is? Tate looked at him directly. Watching you walk towards something that already makes you miserable. I'm not miserable. You haven't smiled once while talking about your wedding. Noah opened his mouth then stopped. Tate noticed immediately. That's what scares you, Tate said quietly. Not me, not this, the fact that part of you knows I might be right. No, Noah moved toward the door. What scares me is how determined you are to destroy every boundary I set. Tate's expression faltered slightly at that. I'm trying to save you from making the same mistake I made, he said. You don't get to decide what's a mistake for me. Noah. No, Noah pointed toward the room behind Tate. You stay here, you stay away from me, and whatever happened last night dies in this room. Tate stared at him for a long moment, breathing unevenly. Then quietly. You already know it won't. Noah angrily shoved his foot into his tennis shoe, nearly crushing the back of it in the process. You've never been in love, Tate. The words landed harder than shouting would have. Tate's face darkened slightly, but he stayed where he was near the dresser, arms folded tightly across his chest. You don't know that. No, I do. Noah tied the laces with sharp, furious pulls. Because if you actually loved someone, you'd know love alone doesn't magically make a relationship good. Tate scoffed quietly, so now you're an expert. I'm more of an expert than you are. Noah stood, grabbing the second shoe off the floor. His hands shook faintly from anger as he jammed it on. You think this is romantic, Noah continued bitterly. You think feelings are enough to justify all the damage you cause. I never said that. You didn't have to, Noah looked up at him finally. You love the wrong people, Tate. You cling to them until they can't breathe, then act shocked when they leave. Tate's jaw tightened. And even when someone stays, Noah said, voice lowering, you take them for granted. That's not true. It is. Noah stood fully now, towering anger replacing the hesitation from earlier. You never saw me as anything except someone who warmed your bed when it was convenient for you. Tate looked genuinely stung by that. That's not what you were to me. Really? Noah laughed harshly. Because when I was 18, I went to my birthday party and realized exactly how bad you were for me. Tate's expression shifted slightly. You got your needs met, Noah continued, voice trembling with anger now. You disappeared upstairs with some girl on my night while I spent half the party downstairs by myself. Tate blinked once. Noah. No, you don't get to interrupt this, Noah pointed at him sharply. I remember standing there wondering why I even invited you when you acted like I was the least important person in the room. That isn't what happened. It is from my side. Noah grabbed his jacket off the chair. That was the night I realized how exhausting you are. Tate pushed off the dresser. You think Riley's different? Yes. You barely know him. I know enough. Tate laughed bitterly under his breath. You know the version of him that exists before real life starts crushing things. At least Riley makes me feel safe. The sentence silenced the room. Tate stared at him. Noah swallowed hard but didn't back down. With Riley, he continued, quieter now, I don't feel watched every second. I don't feel owned. I don't feel like I'm constantly being dragged into whatever emotional storm you're trapped in. I never wanted to own you. No, Noah shot back instantly. Then why does every boundary I set make you furious? Tate opened his mouth, then shut it again. Noah shook his head. Riley is the best thing I've done in years. That's what scares me, Tate muttered. Noah ignored him. Uncle Joey. Tate visibly flinched. The reaction was immediate and involuntary, his shoulders tightening as he stepped toward Noah before stopping himself. Would have liked Riley, Noah finished firmly. Joey would have supported me marrying Riley because he actually knew what was best for me. Tate's eyes hardened. Joey told me to leave you alone, Noah continued. He was right. Noah turned and walked toward the spare room door, but Tate's bitter laugh stopped him halfway there. You're right, Noah, Tate said coldly. Uncle Joey would have loved Riley. Noah glanced back. Because it would be a dig at me, Tate's voice sharpened with old resentment. Joey loved getting one over on me even from the grave. That's disgusting. It's true. No, it's pathetic. Tate stepped closer again, emotion finally breaking through the restraint in his face. You think Joey cared about what made you happy? Joey cared about controlling narratives. He hated me, so of course he pushed you toward the safe little golden boy future. You don't get to talk about him like that. Tate gave a sharp laugh. I knew Joey better than you did. No, you knew the version of him you hated. I knew exactly who he was, Tate snapped. A rich playboy who thought with his dick instead of his brain. Noah's face hardened instantly. Don't. He floated through life doing whatever felt good in the moment, and everybody excused it because he was charming. You don't get to reduce him to that. And you don't get to rewrite him into some saint because he sided against me. And somehow, Noah shot back, he still understood me better than you ever did. That one hit. Tate looked away sharply, nostrils flaring once. Noah took advantage of the silence. Joey saw exactly what you were. And what am I? Tate asked quietly. Noah hesitated. Tate laughed bitterly at the pause. Go ahead. A person who ruins things. The room fell silent again. Tate looked at him for several long seconds, something wounded and angry mixing behind his eyes. Then he nodded once. Maybe, he admitted quietly, but if I ruin things so badly, Noah, why do you still look like leaving hurts? Noah scoffed sharply, though his eyes already looked glassy with emotion. Joey would know the right thing to do. Tate flinched again. It was subtle this time, just a tightening around his mouth, a brief flicker in his eyes, but Noah noticed it immediately. That's the problem with you, Noah continued, voice unsteady now. You can't stand that somebody besides you actually cared about me. That's not true. It is. Noah wiped quickly at his face in frustration before tears could fully fall. I need distance from you, Tate, real distance, because whatever this is between us, he gestured angrily between them, it's unhealthy. Tate's expression darkened. We share this weird trauma bond, Noah said. That's all this is. Years of grief and confusion and dependency tangled together until neither of us knows how to let go. Tate stared at him silently. Noah sniffled despite himself and looked away. I miss Joey. The confession came out quieter than the rest. He was like, Noah swallowed hard, he was like a dad or older brother to me sometimes, so stop talking about him like he was garbage. Tate's jaw flexed. I hated Joey. Noah looked stunned. What? I hated him, Tate repeated flatly, and I'm tired of pretending otherwise. No, you were jealous of him. Tate gave a cold laugh. Jealous? Yes, Noah pointed at him angrily. You hated how close we were, you hated that he mattered to me. That's not why I hated him. It absolutely is, Noah's voice cracked with emotion. Joey actually showed up for me, he listened to me, he protected me when nobody else did. And he made damn sure you trusted him more than anyone. Because he earned it. Tate stepped forward. Noah, Joey inserted himself into every part of your life. Because he cared. Because he needed to be needed. Noah shook his head furiously. You always did this. Every time somebody got close to me, you found a reason to resent them. That is not what this is. It's exactly what this is. Noah's breathing became uneven again. You couldn't stand that I loved him. Tate laughed bitterly. Loved him? Noah, half the time Joey treated you less like family and more like some emotional project he needed to rescue. That's disgusting. It's true. No, it's not. Noah looked genuinely hurt now. You're twisting everything because you can't handle the fact that Joey saw through you. Tate's eyes narrowed. Joey decided I was poison before I ever got the chance to prove otherwise. Maybe because you gave him reasons. Oh, please, Tate rubbed aggressively at his face. Joey acted like he was the only person capable of protecting you from bad decisions. Because somebody had to. The sentence hit hard. Tate went still. Noah realized what he'd implied, but his anger kept him moving forward anyway. Joey worried about me constantly, Noah continued. He knew how easy it was for me to get pulled into your chaos. My chaos, Tate repeated quietly. Yes, Noah's eyes filled again. You make everything intense and confusing and impossible to think clearly about. And Joey made everything simple, Tate scoffed. Good people versus bad people, me versus him. At least Joey cared if I was hurting. Tate stared at him for a long moment before speaking again. You really think I was jealous of him? I know you were. Tate laughed once under his breath, but there was no humor in it. Fine, maybe part of me was. Noah blinked slightly, not expecting the admission. Tate looked away briefly before continuing. You'd light up around him in ways you never did around anybody else. He could calm you down in 5 minutes. You trusted him blindly. Noah shook his head and shot back at Tate with honesty and righteous indignation. Because he loved me. And because he made himself impossible for you to question. Noah shook his head immediately. You just couldn't stand not being the center of my world. That's not fair. No, Noah stepped closer now, too. You hated that there was one person I listened to more than you. Tate's silence sliced the air between them, heavy with things unsaid. Noah let out a shaky breath. God. What? You really were jealous. Tate's jaw tightened again. I was angry because Joey spent years feeding you this idea that I would ruin your life. Maybe he believed it. And now you do too. Noah looked away. That's what kills me, Tate admitted more quietly. Not that Joey hated me, I could live with that. his eyes locked onto Noah's again. It's that eventually you started looking at me through his eyes. Noah's expression faltered slightly. You think this is all some trauma bond, Tate continued. But half the reason you panic every time we get close is that Joey taught you closeness with me was dangerous. No, Noah whispered weakly, you taught me that yourself. Tate flinched. The hurt on his face appeared instantly before he could hide it. Noah swallowed hard, tears threatening again. Joey was there for me after every fight, every breakdown, every time you made me feel small. And did he ever tell you maybe you hurt me too? Tate asked quietly. Noah frowned. Did he ever once admit relationships are messy and not just one person saving the other? He was trying to protect me. He was trying to keep you. That's not true. Isn't it? Noah shook his head immediately. You don't get to reduce what we had. Tate hissed. And you don't get to pretend Joey was some flawless saint who never manipulated emotions. He didn't manipulate me. Tate exhaled sharply. Noah, Joey loved being the person you ran to. Because he cared whether I survived. The room went silent. Noah looked emotionally wrecked now, chest rising unevenly. He made me feel safe, Noah whispered. Tate's expression softened despite everything. I know. Noah wiped angrily at his eyes. So, stop talking about him like he was terrible just because you hated him. Tate was quiet for a moment. Then finally, I hated him because every time I got close to you, he was there reminding you why you shouldn't trust me. Noah stared at him. And the worst part, Tate laughed bitterly to himself, maybe he was right sometimes. That answer took some of the fight out of Noah instantly. Tate looked exhausted now instead of angry. But Joey's gone, he said quietly, and I think part of you still lets him make decisions for you. Noah's face tightened again. He knew me better than anybody. Tate nodded faintly, maybe. Noah flinched. Tate's voice changed. There was no humor in it now, no teasing, no attempt to soften what he was about to say. It was pure jealousy, sharpened by years of resentment. The best day of my 20s, Tate said, his voice low and venomous, was the day I found out Joey wouldn't be around anymore to take you away from me. Noah went completely still. Tate continued. Joey being dead meant he couldn't be competition anymore, he couldn't have your attention, he couldn't have your thoughts, he couldn't have your love, he couldn't have your time. Noah stared at him. For several seconds he couldn't even process the words. You were jealous of Joey. Tate's jaw tightened. Of course I was. Tate looked away. Every time he was around, I felt like I had to dodge him just to get near you. He already had everything I wanted, your attention, your admiration, your affection. You looked at him differently. Noah's face went pale. Joey was your uncle. I know. He loved you. I know that too. And you were waiting for him to die so you could have me to yourself. Tate didn't answer immediately. That silence was answer enough. Noah stepped backward, visibly shaken. He had spent years believing Tate's jealousy was something new, something born from the complicated feelings and jealousy.